the market's doing some funny things at the moment. I think it's potentially unsettling everyone. And I know my last video I spoke about being exhausted from promos, but just to be clear, that doesn't change my long-term outlook on One Piece and where the hobby's going and the investment Bandai's made. Like, they know they're onto a winning product, and as long as they continue and the anime continues, and even when it doesn't continue, I think there's so much opportunity for big organizations to make money in this space that I think that Bandai will continue with One Piece. So I can only see it going from strength to strength. And you know, the argument about One Piece, when the anime finishes then it's going to die. I mean, who's really watching Pokemon all the time now, or even knows where we're up to with Pokemon? Maybe people watch it every week, I don't know, but I don't think it's, I would say it's definitely not as watched as One Piece is. Anyway, that's a bit of a side note. I think I've been collecting these OP04 leaders, and I watched One Piece of Insight's video, and he said, like, collect the most, if you're trying to collect a set of things, collect the most expensive one first. So I thought that was quite interesting. I hadn't thought about it in that way, and I actually did this with the, actually I didn't do this. I actually had the lore, I actually got the lore first. But I think the Boa Lisa, if you believe in the card game and you believe in the TCG long term, and as in One Piece, I think this is going to be, it is a fan favorite already, but I just think it's going to continue and continue and continue. And I don't know what the Pokemon equivalent would be. Tell me in the comments below. But this Boa card, it's if you're a collector, I think, and you maybe don't want to buy this raw in English, you can still get these in Japanese for a reasonable price. I just think long term, this card is going to do extremely well. And actually, I've got the Sakazuki just came back, which I've now got in a 10, which is cool. I've got them all in Japanese. I just thought it was a nice touch. I do have a slight issue because I got one of them in PSA, because that was the first one I bought, but I've graded all these others myself. This Newgate is just awesome. And then I've actually got the lore, because I bought this one first in English, in PSA, sorry. They're all in, as you can see, they're all in Japanese. But I think this, and I've just got the, is it the Magellan to collect last? So I've done 4 out of the 5 from OP04, but I think is it from, yeah, it's from Kingdoms of Intrigue, which I think is actually because of that Boa Lisa. I think that set seal probably does better than people think long term, because I think people long term will see this. This will become like an SP Grail. Interesting concept, the SP Grail, isn't it? Because genuinely you think of mangas as grails, but actually I think long term, as we get further and further along, I've spoken a lot about the Zoro, the Bubble Zoro. I think these become grails in themselves as they continue to gain popularity, and the card game continues over the years. And I mentioned in my last video about actually you know, collecting long term, and what does that look like, and do I want to collect over the next few years. So I you know, I made that a bit of a creative video in the last video, just more for a bit of fun than anything, because I'm personally tired of seeing the same old videos. I'm watching, I'm now really honing in on the content I am watching to quite a limited set few, because, and again, this isn't about gatekeeping, but there is obviously a mechanism to get views. It's like put crash, this is crashing, or this is gonna go to the moon, or buy these now as soon as possible. Like, people are very thirsty to know what to buy next, and unless you make content on that, you get less views. I mean, it's quite clear what people are doing. So I think that's fine while we're in this market, in this market, as we are, you know, I feel like in the last month or so that the market's been trying to find its place more than ever. And that's a good sign to me, because we haven't seen such a boom and bust. I think stuff has dropped, but then other stuff's increased. And a lot of people have said the reason for this is because people have got smarter as collectors. I probably think that's right, but I think there's also just an element of the game's got older, the hobby's got older in terms of One Piece, I mean, and people are not just rushing straight in. So yes, there's a certain smart about it, but also it's just naturally finding its way in the market, all the different cards and where everything's starting to sit. And I still think there's great opportunity. I mean, it's interesting, like you're looking at OP13 and it's like you can pick it up for, I think, about $400-ish, $450, something like that. Because of all the reprints, it's obviously dropped. How is that? You know, look at the value of the cards in that set. That card, that sealed box is going to be worth a lot in the future. And I mean, I'm not talking about flipping it in 6 months. I'm saying, look, hold it for 2 or 3 years. Where it's going to be? If you can hold it for 5 years, like where's it going to be by 2030? You know, in 4 years' time, summer 2030. Where's it at? Where's all this stuff at? You know, look at EBO2 with all the gold leaders now. You know, so you might look at some of this stuff and go, wow, this is really expensive and the opportunity. But you also got to look at what's in. I think one of the best sealed sets, value for money wise at the moment, is, for me, is OP14, and slightly more expensive than that is OP11. The reason behind that is OP14 has the Bubble Zoro, and the OP14 has Bubble Zoro, and I think you can still pick them up for $200. I saw one online for $200, 150, 160 pounds GBP. I think that set's going to be worth a lot more just because of what's inside it. And I think there's some great chases in that set, particularly the Bubble Zoro. Okay, the Mihawk manga's not the greatest manga ever, but who knows what happens with him in the anime, right? And then OP11, it has all the gold and silvers. But I think, like, everyone knows about OP05, everyone knows about OP09, everyone talks about OP13. I don't think everyone... I think if you want something steady that's just going to grow over time, I think OP13, people are just ripping it because of that massive chase, and it's just going to continue to do well over time, despite the reprints and this dip. But OP11, obviously it's more expensive now. Having a sealed box of that, I think, will do well long term. And now OP14, at the price it's at, with that Bubble Zoro in there, you've got the Pikanami in there as well, and you've got that Sabo that I love. I mean, it's just a really, really good set. So, yeah, very, very, very good set, and one that you maybe should look at. But yeah, I've seen in the market, and the point I'm getting to about this is that I think that with the way that the algorithm works and the way the content comes, I'm quite pleased that we're not seeing this massive volatility at the moment, you know, despite what you probably watch or read of this is booming, this is pumping, oh, this is the end of the world, One Piece is going to just die tomorrow, you know, it's all this extreme content for views and for clicks. Actually, it's just finding its baseline. It's finding its natural path in terms of what collectors actually want, what players want. Obviously the meta changes, so it updates fairly frequently. But then once the metas pass and, I don't know, better or newer cards or more playable cards are there, the ones that are now non-meta cards, they settle naturally by the art and the link to the anime, in my view. So the art becomes more important to collectors, which is why talking about, you know, not the most popular character, you know, but stuff like this, if you want to collect stuff, it's super cheap. It's super cheap. You can pick this up for like £25, like $40 raw, and then grade it, and it's probably minty. If it's in Japanese and you get it from, you import it, it's gonna be minty. You can ask the seller for lots of pictures. You know, those big businesses in Japan, you know, they I'm yet to have one not 10 in PSA Beckett or Ace, right? Just to be clear. So I think there's still lots and lots of opportunity. I have slowed down a bit with collecting because it was a furious pace, and I'm waiting now for OP17 before I start ripping stuff. I do have a pre-order of OP17. I hope that it's at an okay price, but I'm just waiting to see if that gets honoured, if you like, because we know these gets cancelled when the market goes nuts. So it'll be interesting to see. Let me know in the comments if you've had if you pre-ordered OP17, and please, I think I've got 10,000 people that watch my videos every month, an audience of around 10,000. I've only got 1,400 subscribers, so it's free for you to subscribe. So if you like the content, please subscribe. It helps me out, and obviously like the video. But yeah, I would say pickup wise, stuff like Boa, and this is where I was getting to as well. Sorry, just to do a little bit of a going back again. I was looking at the silver Luffy when I was at card shows, and looking at the silver SP, and then looking at Gear 2. The Gear 2, even like 3 or 4 months ago, in Japanese, in a PSA 10 from Japan, was 17 or 1800 pounds. So like 2,100, 2,200 US. Now it's at 4.5k. 4,500 pounds. So I think it's over 5,000 US in Japanese in a PSA 10. It's literally gone up, what is that, 3x in 3 months. So, you know, people are like, oh, well, the cards are going down, it's over, and this is happening, and this is pumping. It's like everything just naturally finding its true order. I think what you're going to see as well after OP17, after Pokemon 30th anniversary, is I think you will see a lot of people. I think you'll see panic in the market. I think you'll see a lot of people because everyone's hyping up towards OP17. Depending on how that set does, the market will go one or two ways. Now, I think we will be in this, if you want to call it a bull run, or this sustained period of interest for a lot longer than everyone thinks. I think we will carry on, but I think you will see a lot of people leave the space after OP17. Those vendors that have got some Pokemon and then they've got a load of One Piece, but they don't really care about One Piece, they're just trying to make money, you'll see them go back to Pokemon, or some of the people that aren't interested in it at all will exit and go into other things. So I think it'll be interesting to see where we get to by the end of this year. Will we see, will the same people be doing it, right? Are these people actually collecting? Are they actually interested, or is it just trying to make a quick flip? Okay, because the quick flipping in One Piece for these guys is getting harder as the market is settling and people are becoming more aware of what good looks like. It's not so boom or busty. People aren't like just rushing in and diving in to overspend on stuff. They're doing more research, they're taking more time, they kind of know what good looks like. So anyway, hope you're pumped for OP17. Quite pleased I'm nearly there with the OP04, the SPs. That'd be cool to have a complete set from OP04, quite an old set. It's got one more, and it's quite nice to collect them in Japanese and not have the pressure of the English prices like just going to the moon. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers.